Good evening. It's GramMoose. Tonight we're going to read a book by Dr. Seuss called The Butter Battle Book. I thought it was interesting because I use a lot of butter in my baking. Let's find out what Dr. Seuss does with butter. Are you ready? On the last day of summer, 10 hours before fall, my grandfather took me out to the wall. For a while he stood silent, then finally he said, with a very sad shake of his very old head, "As you know, on this side of the wall we are Yooks. On the far other side of this wall live the Zooks." Then my grandfather said, "It's time that you knew of the terribly horrible thing the Zooks do. In every Zook house and in every Zook town, every Zook eats his bread with the butter side down." But we Yooks, as you know, when we breakfast our sup, spread our butter, Grandpa said, with the butter side up. That's the right honest way, Grandpa gritted his teeth, so you can't trust a Zook who spreads butter underneath. Every Zook must be watched. He has kinks in his soul. That's why, as a youth, I made watching my goal. Watching Zooks for the Zook watching border patrol. In those days, of course, the wall wasn't so high, and I could look any Zook square in the eye. If he dared to come close, I would give him a twitch with my tufted, prickly snickberry switch. A book full of tongue twisters. For a while that worked fine, although Zook stayed away, and our country was safe. Then one terrible day, a very rude Zook by the name of Van Itch snuck up and slingshotted my snickberry switch. With my broken off switch, with my head hung in shame, to the chief Yookaroo in great sorrow I came. But our leader just smiled. He said, "You're not to blame, and those Zooks will be sorry they started this game. We'll dress you right up in a fancier suit. We'll give you a fancier slingshot to shoot." And he ordered the boys in the back room to figure how to build me some sort of triple sling gigger. With my triple sling gigger, I sure felt much bigger. I marched to the wall with great vim and great vigor, right up to Van Itch with my hand on the trigger. "I'll have no more nonsense," I said with a frown, "from Zooks who eat bread with the butter side down." Van Itch looked quite sickly. He ran quite quickly. I'm unhappy to say he came back the next day in his spiffy new suit with the big new machine, and he snarled as he said, looking frightfully mean, "You may fling those hard rocks with your triple sling gigger, but I also now have my hand on a trigger. My wonderful weapon, the jigger rock snatch'em. We'll fling 'em right back just as quick as we catch 'em. We'll have no more nonsense. We'll take no more gup from you Yooks who eat bread with the butter side up." "I have failed, sir," I sobbed as I made my report to the chief Yookaroo in the headquarters fort. He just laughed. "You've done nothing all of the sort. Our slingshots have failed. This was old-fashioned stuff. Slingshots, dear boy, are not modern enough. All we need is some new fangled kind of gun. My boys in the back room have already begun to think up a walloping whizzinger one. My bright boys are thinking. They're on the right track. They'll think one up quick and will send you right back. They thought up a great one, they certainly did. They thought up a gun called a Kickaboo Kid, which they loaded with powerful puadoo powder and ant eggs and bees' legs and dried fried clam chowder. And they carefully trained a real smart dog named Daniel to serve as our country's first gun-tootin' spaniel. Then Daniel and a Kickaboo Spaniel and I marched back toward the wall with our heads held up high, while everyone cheered and their cheers filled the sky. Fight! Fight for the butter side up! Do or die! Well, we didn't do, and we didn't quite die, and we sure did get worsted, poor Daniel and I. Van Itch was there too, and he said the old pig, the boys in my back room invented this rig, called the 8-nozzled, elephant-toted boom blitz. It shoots high-explosive sour cherry stone pits and will put your dumb Kickapoo kid on the fritz. Poor Daniel and I were scared out of our wits. Once more, by Van Itch I was bested and beat. Once again I limped home from the wall in defeat. I dragged and I sagged, my spirits were low as I thought they ever could go. But I heard a boom-ba and a deedle-dill, and our butter-up band marched up over the hill. The chief Eucharoo had sent them to meet me, along with the right-sided up song girls to greet me. They sang, "Oh, be beautiful, believe in thy butter," and they lifted my spirits right out of the gutter. We're going to make Grandpa laugh over there. "My boy," smiled the chief Eucharoo, "we've just voted and made you a general. You've been promoted. Your pretty new uniform's ready. Get in it. The big war is coming. You're going to begin it. And what's more, this time you're certain to win it. My boys in the back room have finally found how. Just wait till you see what they've puttered up now. In their great new machine you'll fly over the wall and clobber those butter down zooks, one and all." Those boys in the back room sure know how to putter. They made me a thing called a yutterly sputter, and I jumped aboard with my heart all aflutter and jeered toward the land of the upside-down butter. This machine was so modern, so frightfully new, no one knew quite exactly what it would do, but it had several faucets that sprinkled blue goo, which somehow would sprinkle the zooks as I flew, and gum up the upside-down butter they chew. I was racing pell-mell when I heard a voice yell, "If you sprinkle us, zooks, you'll get sprinkled as well." Van Itch had a sputter exactly like mine, and he yelled, "My blue gooer is working just fine, and I'm here to say that you yooks can go zooks. You'd better forget, 'cause zooks can go yooks." I flew right back home, and as you may have guessed, I was downright despondent, disturbed, and depressed, and I saw just as soon as I stepped back on land, so were all of the girls in the butter-up band. The chief drum majorette, Miss Yuki Ann Sue, said, "That was a pretty sour flight that you flew, and Chief Eucharoo has been looking for you." I raced to his office. The place was a sight. "Have no fear," said the chief. "Everything is all right. My bright back room boys have been brighter than bright. They've thought up a gadget that's newer than new. It is filled with a mysterious muck-luck-a-moo and can blow all the zooks clear to Salamagoo. They've invented the Bitsy Big Boy Boomeroo." You just run to the wall like a nice little man. Drop this bomb on the zook just as far as you can. I've ordered all yooks to stay safe underground while the bitsy big boy boomeroo is around. As I raced for that wall with the bomb in my hand, I noticed that every last yook in our land was obeying our chief Yukaroo's grim command. They were all bravely marching with banners aflutter down a hole for their country, the right side up butter. That's when Grandfather found me. He grabbed me. He said, "You should be down in that hole. You're up here instead. But perhaps this is all for the better somehow. You'll see me make history right here and right now." Grandpa leapt up the wall with the lupulous leap, and he cleared his hoarse throat with the bopulous beep. He screamed, "Here's the end of the terrible town, full of zooks who eat bread with the butter side down." And at that very instant we heard a cloop cloop on the feet of the wall, and old Vin Itch clooped up. His boys in his back room had made him one too. In his fist was another big boy boomeroo. "I'll blow you," he yelled, "into pork and wee beans. I'll butter side up all you to small smithereens." Grandma can't read either. "Grandpa," I shouted, "be careful. Oh, gee, who's going to drop it? Will you or will he?" "Be patient," said Grandpa. "We'll see. We will see." What do you think happened? Did they drop it? We shall never know. The Butter Battle Book. Good night. GramMoose loves you.